Hello again, everyone. Mike Hoss and Deuce McAllister from our Studio B here in London. Saints back to work today, Wednesday practice. Just give me your thoughts. There was a lot of talk at practice. We'll talk about Jameis. We'll talk about Taysom. Just give me your overall thoughts. And let's be clear that it ain't like you watched the entire practice. There's a certain amount.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is just going off Jameis not being there. And so Taysom participating as a quarterback. With it being Wednesday, I don't want to make too much of it. If this was Friday, that may be a little bit different. But with it being Wednesday, I don't want to make too much of it. We want to see what the next 48 hours look like. But I thought it was good to get Taysom back because he was an added weapon that you didn't have last week. And, you know, for me, with this team, Mike, it's not so much about play calls and players. It's about execution. So whether it's QB1, QB2, QB3, they've got to execute. And I think that's probably the most important part that we're going to see, or hopefully we see over the next couple of days as far as this Saints team is concerned with practice, and then it obviously accumulates on Sunday with the game.
So, and Dennis Allen after practice talked specifically about Jameis' situation, and that doesn't mean that he won't be at practice tomorrow. It doesn't mean that he won't be playing on Sunday. And Taysom's situation, because – and we'll get into the injury report, but according to Coach Allen, that was more of a plan kind of thing, that he was going to take some more reps in that quarterback room. Couldn't do it in training camp because he's been injured. So it feels a little weird, but this was kind of the plan.
Well, and he probably would have took more quarterback reps last week.
Right.
If he was available. Mm-hmm. I mean, and so we probably would have saw this a week earlier. But I think also when you talk about flying, we did it, flying 7 hours. We didn't play a game. But playing a game, flying 7 hours, and having back issues. I mean, there was not like a bed per se that they could put him on and make him feel better. That was something that he was going to have to deal with. And I think for him to get an extra 24 hours with him, you know, and it's basically, let's just say, standing out there, not to be able to do that, not to have to do that, not to say not to be able to do it, but not to have to do that, get you an extra 24 hours, let's see how you feel tomorrow, and then be able to go forward from that standpoint. So, you know, just some injuries playing a part in it, maybe moving some pieces around of what they want to do and how they do it. But I think, you know, ultimately it's going to come down, hey, look, who do we have? What can we do? What do we feel comfortable doing? And then trying to go win a game.
So Jameis did not practice, and we knew this would be a topic of conversation this week, and that's the wide receivers. Yep. Mike Thomas did not practice. Jarvis Landry didn't practice. He's got the ankle. Mike Thomas has the foot. Limited practice. Deontay Hardy and Traquan Smith. Kind of knew those two would be there, but that's 4 wide receivers. You still have the practice squad, and it's not that these guys can't play, but that's a pretty big chunk of the offense.
Yeah, you figure all of them won't play.
Right.
You figure you'll get a couple of them back, and so we figured they'll call up. I think it was Keith Kirkwood who they signed signed to the practice squad, who was out there today. So I mean, he's familiar with the offense, but ultimately and that's what I meant by who's available.
Right.
You know, and so
but whoever it is, execute the play.
That's 100%.
Right.
And that's what it'll come down to. I mean, because whether it's wide receiver 2, 3, it doesn't matter. If they're not executing, it doesn't matter.
And we'll learn a little bit more each day, almost by how much they practice. If they don't, here's my only question. If Dennis and Allen does not feel that Jameis will be ready, doesn't Dalton need to really get some significant snaps this week, or does it kind of just vary a little? I mean, he took the majority of the snaps today.
Yeah, he took the majority of them today. I think for him, I don't know if it's significant as far as amount of snaps because he's probably preparing anyway to play each week anyway.
Right.
I mean, so he knows the game plan. He may not be getting the looks defensively. Maybe you want him to get more plays in that scenario, but he's going to feel comfortable enough to know, hey, look, I got to go ahead and play. And so, you know, whether that was heavy Wednesday and not getting any Thursday and Friday, I don't know. I mean, that'll be up to them how they handle that. But as far as his preparation, he's preparing to play, even though he probably knows he won't.
We will talk more each day. Today, back to practice Wednesday. It's quite a cluster getting from here to the practice facility to the Saints hotel. It's a lot of driving. The Saints they did it in Dallas last year.
Yeah.
It's tough on everybody else. But we'll learn a lot more about injuries and who practices and who doesn't. We'll check back in with you tomorrow. Good night.